Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Business Innovators Radio. This is your host, Jerica Glasper, and in today's show, we will discuss how to use the power of you to manifest the love, wholeness, and life that you desire. I am really excited to introduce today's special guest, James Valentine, the founder of Awakening to Love. James is best known as a Manifest Coach. James is a best-selling author, an international speaker, mentor, and coach. He's also a certified hypnotherapist and a Neuro-Linguistic programming expert, and he has served in the self-help space for more than 25 years. After entering into what he calls the darkest period of his life, he was able to emerge with the power to both identify and overcome the roadblocks, the pain, the struggles that he had lived with most of his life. He now specializes in helping people pull back the veil of their own life and to see that life is, to see life from a more empowering perspective. A perspective that helps them use everything that shows up in their life to create the life they want. He uses what he calls the 3 pillars of manifestation, and today on the show, James will be talking to us about how to manifest the love, the healing, and the life goals that we all desire quickly. James, welcome to the show. I am so excited to have you on as a guest. How are you today?
I am doing amazing. I am doing incredible. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you so much for joining us on today's show, and let's go ahead and dive right in. Why don't we let the audience know who James Valentine is?
Yeah, well, on the surface, I am a dad of a beautiful 7-year-old little girl who is my world. I'm a business coach. Well, I lead a business mastermind. I'm a manifest coach. All those things that you kind of mentioned before, but underneath all of that, I'm a power and I'm a force, and I identify with that part of who I am. That is the divine. That is the God self. And that is who I am.
Awesome. I absolutely love that. You know, in the self-help space, in the spiritual space, we always say that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and I totally believe that. So I love that. Talking to my dad all the time, he believes the same thing, and he always calls me the goddess. He's like, you are a goddess. You know, you're in this body, but you're a goddess. So I love that you identify with that as well.
Yes.
All right. So how did you get here? So you're a hypnotherapist, you're an NLP expert, you're a business coach, a manifest coach. You have so many great talents. How did you get here?
Well, as you alluded to in the introduction, I went through a lot of pain to get here. Relationship pain, life pain, even had some health things. They seemed very light, but they were something to me. And I remember sitting down after a failed relationship where I felt like all hell broke loose. I wanted to know what happened and how could I make sure this never happened again. So I started studying how habits are formed. I started studying energy and how everything is energy. And I started studying spiritual laws, going beyond just the Bible, but studying other spiritual traditions. And in that I found life. I found the ability to create the life that I wanted using those 3 things. But it was a hard journey, so that's how I got here.
That is awesome. Yes, a lot of times there is pain that comes before the success that we have and the breakthroughs. Like I love what Lisa Nichols says all the time. You got to go through a breakdown, or what she said, you have to go through a breakdown to get a breakthrough. That's exactly what she says. So, you know, I love your story. I love how you were on this journey, this search to find more of the meaning to life. And energy is so powerful. Understanding and discovering who we are is so powerful. So, yes, love. So how did you become the Manifest Coach?
Well, it's funny because I first came out as a spiritual life coach and had a great deal of success in that. However, I felt that the language may have been too much for the audience that I wanted to reach. And so really at the heart of who I was as a spiritual teacher was helping people manifest healing, reconciling relationships and things of that sort. So I just took that piece of it and just said, you know what, I can reach a much broader audience if I just brand myself as the manifest coach.
Yes, love it. Well, yes, as they say in business, you have to speak the language of your people. So yes. I love that you found what they relate to. You give them what they want. You give them what you show them what they want, but you give them what they need. There we go. There we go. Yeah. So people need you. Everybody needs a manifest coach to show them how to create the life that they want. And so what exactly is a manifest coach?
A manifest coach is someone that shows you. I show you, and that's why this is titled use the power of you, using that power that's already in you. So as a manifest coach, I don't really do anything but show you the power that's already in you to get you to tap into that. Things like imagination, understanding how energy works, and in that same vein, show you what you're doing that's hindering your manifestation, because we often talk about, I just think it and I feel it in existence, but we don't often talk about what we're also doing, maybe in juxtaposition to that, that's also hindering your manifestation, whereas maybe your manifestation shows up, but if you're recognizing what the blocks are, they show up a lot quicker. So yeah.
Yes. Can you elaborate on the blocks? Let's talk about the energetic blocks. Let's talk about the things. What causes some people to, it seems like, progress in life and to get the things that they want? And then you look at some people's life and you're like, how are they still in the same loop 5 years later, 10 years later? But this part, they started at the same point. They went to the same school, grew up in the same neighborhood, got the same education, but one is thriving and one is not. What's with that?
It's really about, and it's some of the most interesting things that we don't even think about. Everything from your diet. I mean, when you think about certain foods that you eat, because let me say this, we use energy to manifest. Because since everything is energy, we know that everything is energy. If I want to create something in my life or manifest something in my life that's not there presently, then I need to release more of the energy that's in me, or I need to, channel more energy to create more energy, which obviously shows up as that particular object. So everything that robs us of energy, from the foods that we eat to not exercising or not getting, feeling run down. But really it's about mindset. It's about mindset. You can fuel your life. You can fuel your healing. You can fuel love by just your mindset, having that expectation. But some of the smaller things, yes, it could be from what you eat. I mean, there's certain food that you eat that you feel like, say, Thanksgiving. You have Thanksgiving, and next thing you know, you slouch down in your seat, whatever. You have expended energy that could have been used for manifestation. People who meditate channels that energy, at a single point, so that while you're in the middle of manifestation and while you're in the middle of meditating, if you choose to visualize what it is that you want, you're in an optimum position to do that. But some of the things, again, like exercising gives us more energy, because when you think about it, money is energy. So if you want money, you have to channel more energy for money. Vacations and trips and all that. All of that is just energy. And so it's looking at the areas of your life that are robbing you of energy and changing those, transforming those areas.
I love it. You said a mouthful there, so I'm going to unpack it, because I love this idea. This not an idea, but this realization that we are energy. We are created from atoms, right? Our body is made up of atoms and proteins and all of these things that you said, and it's a proven fact that we emit energy, and that means we also attract energy. And one of the things that I'm looking to do is to learn about energy more this year, about energy blocks and energy clearing and energy healing, because we hold trauma and we hold food and we hold thoughts in our being, in our body as energy. And so if you have the loving energy radiating through your body, your heart, your lungs, your digestive system, it performs differently than if you have hate and resentment and anger and jealousy and all of these different things in your body. It literally manifests certain sicknesses and illnesses in the body. And it's funny because food, we think, okay, food does play a big part, but we grow up thinking, especially in the African-American community, oh, diabetes runs in my family. Oh, high blood pressure runs in my family. Oh, and all of these things, yes, it, quote unquote, may run in your family. That's because no one has taken the time to break that energetic tie with certain things, whether it be food, whether it be mindset, whether it be all these different things. Like a lot of the energy creates the environment. And so energy, like you said, can be the food. Ooh, don't give me. Ooh, yes, yes.
Right,
yes.
and these are things that we get pleasure from, but we get short-term pleasure from. But in the long term, they're absolutely hindering us. And I love how you brought that piece into diabetes and things, because part of manifesting the healing we want is something that Bruce Lipton talks about. He's a great teacher on manifesting healing, but he has a teaching called epigenetics, and he talks about how, because you can hear something over and over again. Mama had cancer, auntie had cancer, grandma had cancer. Once you get that into your thought process, once you make room for that in your own mind, the propensity, it's not so much the disease, or it's not so much the illness that's creating it. Your mind is creating it because of how society says it runs in the family, or it's hereditary, or things like that. You have the ability to just go, you know what, I'm choosing not to have it. I'm making the decision that it's not going to show up in my life, instead of entertaining it and looking at, okay, well, somewhere down the line I'm probably going to get it. By your thoughts, you are creating the likelihood of it happening. So you're almost creating, so where mama and grandma might have had it, and now it's showing up in your life, you co-created that experience. And you think it was hereditary, but no. You create, because when it comes to manifest healing, we'll touch on that for a quick second. When it talks about manifesting healing, what actually takes place is every thought you have releases what's called a neuropeptide. That is released into the body, and it looks for a cell receptor. It's like putting a key into a lock. So if your mindset is, grandma had cancer, mama had cancer, and now you're entertaining that thought repeatedly over years, you're hearing it, you're entertaining it, you're wondering if it's going to happen to you. You are continually introducing a key into your body that's unlocking a cell that creates the likelihood of you having it. It's not that heredity has passed it on to you. It's your mindset that has more times than not created it for you. Matter of fact, I think I heard that it's only 1%, like 1 to 5% of people who actually have something passed down on a hereditary level. It's a really low number. You can people can Google this for themselves, but this is a really low number. So 95% of that is you. 95% of that is all you and your mindset.
I don't want to hear that part, James.
I know I'm not popular right now, but that's the truth. It's absolutely the truth.
You're absolutely popular because people are seeking the truth. We're tired of being lied to. We're tired of being told that, science is law and that we don't take into consideration the metaphysical or the quantum physics of things. And, watching Joe, I think it's Joe Vitale, I want to say that's his name.
Yeah.
Yes, I watched Gaia. He's on Gaia, and he talks a lot about our bodies. There are over 100,000 different genetic expressions that we can have within our body, but we only have, I think he said, about 20 or 30,000 of those are going to be manifested in our body.
Right.
So he says a lot of the times what happens is that our emotions cause the proteins in our body to get created, and the proteins express a gene, and the gene could be, like we said, diabetes. It could be,
yes.
It could be anxiety. It could be depression. But he said it all starts from thought and feelings, and the thought and feelings pull in a genetic code and express that in the body.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's very true. But and the blessing in that is, if I'm creating disease in my body by what I'm thinking and how I'm feeling, that also means that I can create wholeness in my body by how I'm thinking and how I'm feeling. And I'm not sure how many people, listeners, are Christians. I often find that I meet them a lot in this journey, and for those who identify with Jesus saying your faith has made you whole. That's saying your belief. That's saying your thoughts. That's saying your emotions has made you whole. So, in the same way, your faith also makes you sick. So it's your belief in sickness that makes you sick, and it's your belief in wholeness that makes you whole.
Oh, okay. I want to see, when I talk to my dad, me and my dad, we go there. We talk about we talk about everything, about deep space. We talk about spirituality. We talk about all the things, right? Yeah. And one of the things he always says, because he grew up Pentecostal in Mississippi, he did rise to a level where he was speaking to the congregation. And it was, imagine Neville being given a platform in a Pentecostal church. Yeah. And so he was before his time. He was, talking about these things when it was like, no, you don't talk about that. No, we don't, that's not right. That's not what the Bible says. But it's like, really the interpretation.
It's all in there. It's all in there. Oh my goodness, yes, yes. And I a large part of this 25 years in the self-help space has been as a minister, and so I was the one who was teaching the errors, not realizing it at the time. But but it's almost like when you step back and look at it, like you go, how did I miss this? And then you understand that because it was taught to you that way, and it was taught to the person who taught you, and that, so on, that it just becomes a part of the programming, even when we can at times look at it logically and go, that doesn't make sense.
Yes. Ooh, we could talk. We could go there on that topic. All right, so we're going to continue right on with this show. And so almost everywhere we turn, it's like, I love seeing that people's consciousness is getting raised on the planet. It's like people are awakening and saying, you know what? I'm not accepting that anymore. I'm not accepting that to be true because I feel and I know differently. And so almost everywhere we turn, someone is talking about manifestations or the law of attraction. So what makes you different from those type of experts?
I think it's what I alluded to earlier. A lot of us are talking about how to do it. And not a lot of us are talking about the things that, again, as I said earlier, are hindering us from doing it. So you see people who, they kind of have a hit or miss with manifestation. They hit one time, and another time, didn't work out this time, whatever. But what makes me stand out is I show you how to do it with speed, because, again, once you identify those blocks and you now address those blocks, it happens quickly and it happens consistently. You can just have an expectation that it's going to show up, and instead of, because I've come across people who know how to manifest. Some of them don't even know how. Well, actually, let me be clear. There's some who know how to manifest. There's some who I just do it. I don't know how it works. But not a lot of people are talking about, because it's one of the processes is thinking it and feeling it. But one of the things we have to understand is by the time we're 35 years old, most of our life is run on automatic. 95% of our life is run on automatic by the time we're 35. And what that means is I do things the familiar way I'm doing them, the familiar way I've always done them, because it feels good. So when you're trying to introduce a thought that says, you know what, I'm setting an intention for more money or success in my business or better health or whatever, you're now trying to take 5% of your conscious mind to go against your 95% of your subconscious mind that goes, that's not what we used to. Like we're comfortable. So one of the things I do is I tell people how to go from the subconscious to the conscious. So instead of trying to get past the gatekeeper who is powerfully strong, has so many years of existence being a certain way, who's like, you need to go ahead with that nonsense. I show people how to get into the subconscious, where now your subconscious is working in tandem with your conscious mind. So those are a few of the things that make me different.
I love that, because you can know what you need to do, but people need to really overcome why they haven't done it, or like you said, the blocks, because you can give somebody PDFs and books and videos and meditations, and they can, I'm a why person. Why am I doing this? How do I do this? And so it's not enough to just give me, oh, go listen to this. I want the backstory. You know, and I think a lot of women are that way. And so you are very different in that you are helping them understand the reason you can't move forward in this area is because we got to pull back the veil. We got to look at why you're afraid of money. We got to look at why you're afraid of love. We got to look at why you're afraid of success. We got to look at why you're afraid to be alone. You got to start peeling back some stuff and removing those blocks. And like you said, you know, there's a book also that's called The Body Keeps the Score, and our cells get programmed to, and it's you know, Joe Vitale talks about this. We can get in a loop where we don't want to be in pain. We don't want to be in fear and anxiety and depression, but our body craves those feelings. Absolutely. And you have to break your body. You literally have to reprogram your body and your cells to love a different feeling. And so I love that you help people with that. And so what are the 3 pillars of manifestation that you teach in your signature program?
The 3 pillars of manifestation is, number 1, energy. And I also, you know, I kind of title it under quantum physics, but I know a lot of people may not be familiar with quantum physics. So I'll say energy. But it's understanding that when you connect with something or someone or someplace emotionally, you are tied to that experience. As a matter of fact, the reason why we have what we call long-term memories and why certain things stay with us is because the period at the end of the sentence of that experience is an emotion. An emotion ties you. So when you understand that everything is energy and you connect with, because emotion is what? Energy in motion. So if I connect with something emotionally, I now have the ability to influence that. And a lot of people don't understand that piece. So there's that energy piece where I understand that everything is energy, and whatever I connect to emotionally, that's why you got to feel your manifestations into existence, because there's an emotion that's attached to the experience of it having already happened. So there's that energy piece, and then there's that neuroscience piece. Like I talked earlier about, every thought releases a chemical into the body that now you're feeling the way you were thinking. And so being able to rewire your brain, being able to form what's called synaptic connections for what you do want to experience, now influences the body to live from that place. And then the 3rd pillar is 12 spiritual laws, in which I've actually added, you know, I've heard you reference Neville a couple of times there. I've actually added Neville's law of assumption as the 13th law, which is obviously, you know, just assuming that state. So those are the 3 pillars of manifestation.
Ooh, I love it. You know, living in that law of assumption need to be up number 1, because I don't know what the other laws are. I know they're all great laws, but you cannot get the things that you want unless you already feel that you have them. That is just the simplest way to put it. If I want to be in a loving marriage, I can't feel like crap and say, when the right guy shows up, then I'll feel like I'm worthy. Then I'll feel like I'm worthy enough for love. Then I'll feel beautiful. Then I'll feel special. You know what? You're not going to attract the right thing. You're going to attract who you are and not what you want. Who you are has to be a worthy woman, a cherished woman, a happy woman, a peaceful woman. You got to be that thing right now. You got to feel it, but you got to live in the end of that feeling. And it's really ending your, if you can't get there. So let's talk about that. So we know that we need the law of assumption. I got to see myself in a place that I ain't never been, and I got to feel myself into that person. But how do I do it? If I've never been a millionaire, if I've never lived in a 50-acre, property with this how do I put myself in that feeling? What is the feeling that I should be? And I know the answer to this, but I want you to share. How does someone put themselves in that frame of mind if they've never been there?
I'm actually absolutely glad you asked. Great question. Let me say this. Nikola Tesla said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think energy, frequency, and vibration. Yes. So everything that we experience has a frequency to it. If I'm in Macy's has a frequency. If I'm in Target has a different frequency from Macy's. Everything has a frequency attached to it. So this is where I first learned to do that. I was dating someone who was in Vegas. I've never been to Vegas before. And at that particular time, I didn't have the money to go to Vegas. So I'm a manifest coach. I was just kind of starting out on this journey. So I said, let's manifest. And what I did, I said, I've never been to Vegas before. How do I get into the frequency of Vegas? So what I did is I went to YouTube and I started pulling down some videos that, one video was someone going into the Vegas airport, the sights, the sounds. I was able to tap into the frequency. Then there was another video where somebody was walking the strip and they were pointing out at the sights, the sounds, waterfalls, hotels, whatever. You could feel the energy of being on the strip. So what I did is I rehearsed those videos in my mind. I rehearsed the frequency of what it was like to be in Vegas so that when I went into my visualization, when I went into that piece, I felt like I was walking through the airport. I felt like I was walking through, walking the strip because I got into the frequency of that experience so much so that when I opened up my eyes, I was like, oh, I'm still here in my bedroom. So once it becomes so real to you, once you can get on the frequency, whether it's an image or a video or something like that, and you can tap into that frequency, it becomes easy. It becomes easy because now you know what it feels like to be in that place. And I just did that with Houston. And actually, I told you before we got on the call, then headed to Houston. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did that. Even though I have money to travel, I'd still do that. I still do that consistently. It's
love it.
I still do it. So yeah, that's one of the ways.
Okay, love that. For me, when I went through a tumultuous relationship where I needed to get away, went into a women's shelter with my son when he was 2, got out and went into transitional housing for about 1.5 years there, and I complained so much to God. I wasn't there yet. I wasn't at my take control of your life stage, but I was at my stage where I'm like, God, why me? Why am I going through this struggle? Why, I didn't have a job. I was a college kid at the time, found a job. It was part-time. I think I was making $9.50 an hour. I lost my car. We're talking Dallas, Texas in the middle of the summer. So I'm catching the bus, pushing a 2-year-old in a stroller up the hill, down the hill. Like, I was struggle mode. I'm like, God, why would you put me through this? And so I remember praying to him, and the first thing that he said to me, I'm like, how am I going to get out of this? He said gratitude. And so even at the point where, to me, if you don't have the YouTube videos, if you can't, okay, I'm watching these videos, I can't see myself there, but it's really, okay, let's start with the basis of changing your vibration, your frequency to that of gratitude and abundance. Abundance is really the frequency. Gratitude helps you get to that abundance feeling. And so praying to God and just angry, the one word he told me was gratitude. He said, you got to thank me for what you got right now. You want some more stuff? You better be thankful for what you got right now. Right now, okay? So I went through my little hand-me-down apartment where the couches didn't match, the dishes were all mismatched, stuff was broken, bed was handed down, toys handed down. clothes from the thrift store, and I went through my closet. I thank God for every piece of thing hanging up on the rack. I went through and I thanked them for all my dishes where I can eat off of them and cook. I thanked them for my bed. I thanked them for everything. And my life changed after that. After that day, my life has never been the same. And that was probably, Jeremiah's 9. So that's about 7 years ago when I had my awakening, when he gave me a vision so vivid and clear that I said, okay, all right, I see now. So I say all that to say that when you're like, okay, I can't see myself in that vibration, for me, what worked was to get in the energy of gratitude. That was the simplest and fastest way to get there, because gratitude is going to attract abundance.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And I'm glad you pointed that out, because that was a piece that was a key part of it. So even when if you can get into the frequency and add gratitude, you just optimize that thing to there's nothing I do that I manifest that does not have, I am grateful and I am thankful that I am, or that I have, or that I, that gratitude piece is the most important piece. I'm glad you brought that out, that I overlooked it. But it's the most important piece, because that is the evidence, for my Christian folks. When I'm talking to them, I bring out, ask them what is faith. They say faith is some things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
That is the most misinterpreted. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's like God just gave you the answer and you just got the blindfolds on right now. He's telling you the law of assumption right there.
That's it. And then that piece and how I walk them through it is what's evidence of something that you don't have. And I usually lead them like this. I say, if I gave you $1 million, and I said, you're an amazing person, I just wanted to bless you with this, what's the evidence that you have $1 million? And, and this is just through the conversation. And so, I get them to understand that they feel like they have it. They feel like, so I say the emotion is the evidence. The emotion, and so gratitude and thanksgiving, feeling that experience of having already received something, or having the evidence of something that you don't see, or that's the evidence of something that you don't see. Gratitude and thanksgiving, feeling that feeling, is the evidence of something that you don't see. But yeah, you're right. I mean, all of that stuff is right. It's all in the Bible. Like it's all weaved all in there. All of it.
Yes. Okay. So, Jesus was a healer, right? And, I'm just going to go there. Like, we're already there. I'm just going to go there because that's how me and you are. We just go there. Yeah. So, there was a point, and you might be able to back me up with more, like, scripture on this, but I was watching something on the show, and they were saying that there was a certain period of time in the Bible where Jesus was not mentioned. He wasn't there. He was gone. There was no acts of faith. There was no healing. He had left and came back. And in the show, what they were speculating is that he went over to the Middle East and he learned Reiki, and he learned from masters over there in the Eastern culture about healing. And we know now that there is a such thing as energy healing. And so when you hear the disciples touch people and their eyes are healed, or they touch someone's leg and their leg is not broken anymore, that is energy healing. And I believe that the same thing, when Jesus said, have the mind of God, right? If I'm going to have the mind of God, if I'm going to have God's mind, and he wants me to, and he's told me in the Bible, and I'm not the one to point out scriptures because I just don't know them like that. I know that they're there, but I know that he wants us to have the mind of Christ. And if I have the mind of Christ, then I am a healer too. And I can do the same great works. I can manifest the same great things. And in church, I used to feel like that was blasphemous. How can you dare say you have the mind of Christ? How can you dare say you can do these miracles? Didn't he say, James, we need to have the mind of Christ?
That's what he said. And most people don't understand the Christ part. Like, that's what I tell people I am today. I said, I'm not a Christian, but I'm a follower of Christ. Christ for me is that divine inner essence that is your true self, that is your God self. that's the Christ for me, and everyone has that in them. It's just some identify with it, some do not, but everyone, all things were made by him, was not anything made that was made. And I like to say it like this: if in the beginning was God, and God was all there was, and God, then it's the same as if I had a log. If from that log I created a chair, a table, a door, a house, or whatever, everything in that door, that house, that table has all the elements of the log, because the log was there. That's all I had to work with. So inside of us there's all of us have the Christ. All of us have the God self, because in the beginning that was all there was. And so even when you look at it like that, because from religious standpoints, we often see ourselves independent or separate from God. You have the choice. Yeah, you have the choice whether you choose to identify with what I call the dream or your true self. But whether you choose to identify with the God self or not, it doesn't take away from who you are. You're still that. You still are the power and the force in your life to create the dream, the life, the day, whatever, however you choose to. Once you tap into the power, you can say, let there be, and there will be. But we often get lost in the dream. Like I call it the dream. I say when we sleep at night, that's the sleeping dream. When we wake up, that's the waking dream.
Yes.
But everything is just reflecting back to you, your beliefs, your thoughts, your opinions. Change those, tap into that power that's on the inside of you, and change your life.
Wow. I love this conversation. This is so good. Okay. All right. So some people can understand manifesting love. Like some people get it. They're like, okay, I need to honor myself. I need to have the self-care. I need to be the person for me if I want that. What Lisa Nichols says is, I had to love me so I can show the world how to love me. And some people get that. And it takes a while. Sometimes it takes the pain to realize I got to love me before someone else is going to love me how I want to be loved. But others don't understand manifesting, what they want in areas of love. And some of them can't even see themselves manifesting healing. And I have a story on that. I'm going to share the story real quick, but I'm going to ask you about manifesting healing, okay? I remember talking to my dad one day. I was driving home. My body was aching. I was coughing. My nose was stopped up. I felt like the flu was getting ready to get me. I feel like it already had me. And I remember driving, and I remember talking to him, telling him, I hadn't been feeling good, and then get off the phone with him, and I just sat there. I didn't close my eyes, but I meditated, and I just put this feeling of love and healing. I cannot explain it, but my entire body was vibrating. Like it was tingling and vibrating from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. I immersed myself in this energy of love and healing. And I kid you not, within that before I got home, I was not sick anymore. My body, I didn't have the body aches. My nose had started to clear up. My throat stopped hurting, and I called my dad back. I said, Dad, I just healed myself. He's like, you did? And so, I can call him and tell him stuff like that. So I was like, Dad, I'm sitting here, and I embody that energy that we're talking about. I raised my vibration from one of whatever caused me to get that sickness. I said, nope. So I started, the gratitude, the love, the healing, all of that. I brought that into my energy field, and I was not sick no more, James. So not how you do it. Well, if you want to talk about how you do it, but people feel like they can manifest love, they can manifest the life that they want, but we have a hard time believing because of science and medicine and big pharma that we can take our healing into our own hands. So how can someone really manifest healing?
It's interesting. I've experienced it a number of different ways. Before I even knew what this was about, I remember I had twisted my knee really bad, and I just started speaking. In the same way of sending energy, I spoke to my knee, and I had a conversation with my knee. And it's funny because as I was talking to my knee was feeling better. It would start, acting up again. I would speak to it, it would start to feel better. So that was one way, even before I understood what manifestation and all of that stuff was. But here was something that really opened up my eyes, Jerica. This was when I was in my spiritual life coach. there was someone who was posting on Facebook that their father had been 3 days in a coma, and they was talking to the family about pulling the plug. And it was just in me. It was just in me to reach out to them and go, your father can live if you believe. And I said, let's talk if you want to see what that's about. And so we spoke, and the first thing I said was, stop posting on Facebook, because what you give attention to, you give life to.
Yes.
So when we give attention to our illnesses and so forth and so on, we're actually giving more life to it. So even when people come in like, with the best intentions, oh, I'm sorry that you're dealing with this, whatever, you're making that experience bigger and broader. You're giving more and more life to that experience. So this is what I told her to do. And though I do healings in many different types of ways, this is one that really stood out to me. I said, let's do this. If your father was at home, what would he be doing? And this is really about kind of almost essentially what you're saying, getting her into the vibration, getting her into the energy of what she wanted to be experiencing. So we went through this whole thing of her father being home, sitting in his chair, reading some comics or whatever. Apparently that's what he enjoyed to do, joking and laughing with her. Less than 12 hours later, she hits me up and goes, my father woke up. I'm thinking that I'm literally thinking that she's still doing the exercise that we did that previous night. But in less than 12 hours, her father was awake and out of his coma. Coincidence? I don't think so, because I've seen this duplicated with many different people with many different situations. So once you get into the vibration of what it is that you want to experience, that becomes the reality. That becomes the truth until you start believing otherwise. So it essentially really is your faith that makes you whole. It's your belief. So again, I said this earlier, it's your belief in sickness that makes you sick. And it's your belief in wholeness that makes you whole. But it's all about getting into, again, what Tesla says, in life, the secret of life is energy, frequency, and vibration. So it's really about getting into the vibration of wholeness. And I could go a lot, and that's just the surface. Like I could go into what goes on in the body and all that kind of stuff, but that's suffice for now.
Right. They got to buy that part. They got to purchase that. They got to get some one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Love it. In the Bible it says we are God is the author and finisher of our faith.
Yeah.
And that's something that my dad says to me all the time when I'm like, oh, Dad, I want to do this and that. And he said, you know what? God is the author and the finisher. So if he gave it to us, if he authored that thing, and I don't know why I'm saying this because we're talking about healing, but just this popped in and I got to share it for whoever's listening. God is the author and the finisher of your faith. And so if he gave it to you, there's no way that he's not going to see that thing through if you just stick it out, and that you have the faith of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen is that law of assumption. It's that feeling. And I love that you had that conversation and that you created that reality. Our job is not to know the how. Our job is to put ourselves in and to send that message forward that this is what we want. The act does not, the result does not precede the feeling. Right. You can't have the result and it be like, oh, yeah. No, you have to actually, that's the secret. You have to feel it. You have to see it. And one of the ways that you can do it as well, I know, like actually role-playing and talking about it, another thing that I do if I don't have someone to talk to is I do inner conversations. And so I told you before the call that I'm coaching a group of girls at this after-school program, a group of high school girls, and I taught them, one of the things I taught them is how to create their day, how to set up their day. And the morning routine that I taught them is called Wake Up and Win the Day. And what you do is in the morning when you wake up and you're laying in bed, you have inner conversations about the end of the day, how your day went. And you hear your mom saying, how was your day? Did you have a great day? And you hear yourself saying, yeah, Mom, today was the best day I've ever had in school. Or you hear your teacher saying, you know what? you aced that thing. You made the highest score you've ever made if you got a test. So I said, you have those conversations now. Put that out there now. And I said, at the end of the day, so you have a relive. Relive. So the morning, step 1 is relive the day. At the end, as if you've already lived the day. Step 2, at night, in the evening, when you're laying in bed, you do revise. So you do relive and then revise at night, is that you rewrite the story how you want it to go, even if it didn't go your way. And I taught them about revision, okay? These are 14 to 18-year-olds. Again, me at 32 had to learn and pay for it and coach and cry and fight and pain to finally get here. And I said, you can control the outcome of your day. Even if it doesn't go how you want, you can rewrite your day. You can literally revise when you're laying in bed and you say, okay, I got to see on that paper. You're going to go back to that scene as if you're the director, because you are. You know, you're a co-creator with the divine creator. And you're going to look down at that paper and you're going to see an A. You're not going to see that C. Or if you had a bad day, you're going to lay in bed and still hear your mom say, sweetie, I'm glad you had a great day today. I hope you have a great day tomorrow.
Right.
We're going to revise that thing. We're going to get there one way or another. It may not work the first time, but you keep putting yourself in that mind frame and that energy that you create your day and you control your day and how you want to feel. It has no choice. It's the law. It has no choice but to obey you.
Absolutely. And this is something that doesn't sound too far out there, so I could say this. And you know this. Your subconscious mind doesn't know what you're experiencing is real or imagined. So if you're reframing or rehearsing your day the way you want to go, your subconscious mind is going, this is what we experience. And so it creates from that place. It cancels out everything that you believe that you had experienced that day, and it goes with, this is, it just accepts it as this is what we experienced today. So how did Neville say, rewriting it, or what's the term he uses?
Revision. So I relive the day and then I revise the day.
Yeah, so revising your day the way you want it, it's just you program your subconscious to go, this is the day we had, and you can't tell me we didn't.
You sure can't. I love it.
Exactly. And so we create from that revision.
Absolutely. Love. Okay. So you are an author. You also have an Amazon best-selling book on relationships. Can you tell me what the title is, a little bit about the contents of the book? And, people can purchase it on Amazon, so let's go ahead and plug that. But, tell me a little bit about your book.
Yeah, Amazon and Barnes & Noble. My book, Relationship Chronicles, is titled Relationship Chronicles, The Truth About the Story We Tell Ourselves. Which is funny, I'm cracking up when I'm saying this, because we get into relationships, and we have all these reasons for why it didn't work out. This person lied to me, this person cheated on me, this happened or that happened, whatever. That's not the truth. That's not the truth at all. The truth is you only experience out there externally in your external world what was going on the inside of you. And what I mean by that is if you were dating someone and they manifested themselves, they were a liar, you have to look at it, what ways were you lying to yourself? And so when you look at someone who may have been unfaithful, in what ways were you unfaithful to yourself? Every experience in your life, good, bad, or indifferent, shows up to show you. So you can rail against it and fight against it and struggle against it and wrestle against it, but that's going to be the continual pattern until you find that in you and correct that in you. So in the book, Relationship Chronicles, The Truth About the Stories We Tell Ourselves, I kind of break down every area in which we are lying to ourselves and not being truthful with ourselves. Got titles like The Life You Have versus The Life You Are. And what I mean by that is when you understand your true essence is divine and you identify with that, that's the life that you are. But sometimes we can look at things that are going well in our life and think that I love myself because things are going well in my life. For my Christians, again, there's a verse that goes, the wheat can grow perfectly fine with the tares. In other words, your life can look good on the outside while you're yes, while you're a mess on the inside. And again, and I've experienced that. That was my life for a large part. So we mistake, things are going good. And I also had a conversation with a client a couple of days ago where I talked about avoidance is not deliverance. And so,
that's a whole nother thing right there.
That's a whole
other message.
That's a whole other. So we think we don't forgave somebody or that we're good now because we have somehow compartmentalized that experience. But that experience still reaches out and still screws up and self-sabotages your life in many different ways. So I talk about why exes show back up. I talk about STDs and stuff. Instead, I use the term spiritually transmitted disease, understanding that every time I choose to lay down with somebody, it's an exchange of energy. So if I'm laying down with someone who, hateful, complainer, and all of that, then I can be assured that I am now taking on that energy, and with the right trigger, I will now manifest being a complainer. I may manifest being a smoker or that. One of the experiences that really stood out to me, I was dating someone that had panic attacks. She was taking medicine for panic attacks. I personally had never had a panic attack in my life, and I wasn't even sure what that was until a year later. I'm in the library, and I'm having a freaking panic attack. I'm like,
I've had some.
Yes, I'm like, what in the world is this? But I didn't understand that I had because I had taken on her energy, and that moment was a perfect trigger for it. I was now, and so we have to be mindful. We talk about sex. Sex feels good, and it does feel good, but that's another one of those short-term pleasures that, if it's not with the right person, can end up being a long-term thing that you're still trying to release that energy, cleanse your energy from that experience, because it could affect you, years down the line.
Wow. Oh, it's so interesting that you say that, because last night I found myself looking up training on energy healing, energy clearing, cord cutting. Energetic cord cutting is what we're talking about for the Christians, for the Christian faith. That's your soul ties. But it's a proven thing that you are carrying around the energy of somebody else, and you wonder why this and that. But you're right. It's an energetic cord cutting or soul ties that you have to break, and it doesn't have to always be sexual. It could be from family. It can be from friends. It could be from coworkers. I'm really, really protective about my space and about my energy. I used to not be, because I wanted the friends, I wanted the circle, I wanted the popularity, I wanted to be in the crowd. But, after a while, those things are not important. It's really important about it. What's most important is who you surround yourself with. So I love that we're talking about that.
Absolutely. And as I was saying earlier, whatever you are tied to emotionally, that's a great way of looking at it as a cord. So I'm tied to my daughter. There's an emotional cord tied to my daughter. My family, it was for a moment, but I took a year off of them. That's another story. I took a year off of them at some point so that I could break that tie, so that when I showed up, I didn't show up as the 5-year-old James, because, but I showed up as the person that I am, and they had to adjust. So, whatever we're tied to emotionally affects us. It affects us. It has influence over us. I have a friend right now. I can feel when she's going through something. I can literally feel when she's going through something. So much so that I'll reach out to her and like, hey, what was going on yesterday? What was going on last night? And it's just, she repeats it back to me. Why? Because we have an emotional connection. We have an energy, we have an energetic connection. You're right. It's not just sexual. It's just, you can really like your coworker, and, when you can really just like something, have a connection with somebody. Now, obviously, sex is the epitome of that emotional experience. But whatever you're tied to emotionally, you're tied to.
I love that. Okay, so you have other hats besides being a coach. So what else do you do?
I'm a speaker. I am a mentor. I put on retreats. And one thing I'm really, really excited about, I've been leading a business mastermind for about a few years now. But this year, I'm really kind of coming into my own and owning it, putting on, because it really started with, I was tired of being the smartest person in the room, wanted to find people that were doing what I was doing. And so I did a lot of listening. So now 3 years later, I'm the one leading an amazing group of people. So speaker, mentor, retreats, mastermind, leader, a few different things, yeah.
Okay, great. And I love that, putting on retreats and really having the mastermind that's in person. Is that a virtual mastermind as well, or is it mainly where you are locally?
That is a virtual mastermind at this point, but after my event, and I have an event coming up in May, you and I will talk about that, I'm actually going to start doing live masterminds in different cities.
Okay, I love it. Yeah. You'll do very well with that, I already know. I already see it. It's going to be a packed house. Yes. So what is one thing that you would have someone work on to manifest success in their business if they hired you as a coach?
The first thing I always work on, and matter of fact, one of the very first questions I ask any client, no matter what they're showing up for, is who are you? And that's important to know because what you are experiencing right now is reflecting who you are right now. So if you want to experience more, you have to become someone that you've never been before. So my first question will be, who are you? And then my next question is, who do you want to be? So the very first thing I would talk about to people who want to manifest success in their business, they want to do more than what they're doing right now, is mindset training. Because you cannot continue to do things the same way you've been doing them and expect things to grow from there. To some extent, you have to become someone who fits where you want to go. And I think and so we work on crafting and shaping and forming that aspect of you that fits where you want to go.
Absolutely. I love that. So what type of person is a good fit to work with you, to attend some of your masterminds, to work with you one-on-one? Who does that person look like?
Someone who's committed to grow, someone who's committed to change. What really changed my life was a phrase that I had that I would say over and over and over again. I would say, if I die, I die. And it really came from one of the spiritual books, The Tao Te Ching, that says, if you're not afraid to die, there's nothing you can't achieve. So if you're willing to be as uncomfortable as you possibly can be, or whatever it takes, you want to create change in your life, you are the perfect candidate. Like if you're lollygagging or you just want to see, I'm probably not the one for you. But if you're like, I'm all in, whatever you ask me to do, I'm going to do, I will show you the same map that got me to where I am right now. Because I think you mentioned this about your journey, about your experience, but you and I, we talk offline, we both came out of a homeless shelter. Mine was literally 2016, literally almost 4 years ago. So in a very short period of time, I've been able to have great gains. But that was through my commitment of no matter what I got to do, I can't stay here.
Yes, I love that. Is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners about who you are, about what you do? Any closing thoughts or remarks?
Well, I do want to say this. If anyone is in Vegas or close to being in Vegas or want to be in Vegas, at the end of May, I am putting on a Get Your Life Back retreat with some amazing speakers and my business partner. And it's all about shifting from a place of being stuck where you are in your life, whether you're dealing with depression, suicidal thoughts, still trying to get over a divorce or things those low energy experiences, and you feel stuck and you want a hand to help you get to that next level and show you what's possible for you. Definitely reach out to me through my Facebook, J Valentine 1043, Facebook.com/J Valentine 1043. Otherwise, and actually through that avenue, you can be aware of when I'm doing my my Manifest Formula Masterclass, my relationship masterclasses, just a good way of knowing what's going on with me.
I love that. And you also have a Facebook group. How can they find you on Facebook?
Yes, my Facebook group. I love my love community. It is Manifesting Love, Wholeness, and Life with James. Again, Manifesting Love, Wholeness, and Life with James. Plug that in, and you should see my group.
Awesome. Well, I am going to drop the links to your Facebook page and to your group as well on this page for this podcast show. So, James, I want to thank you again for being a part of Business Innovators Radio today. You know, it's always a pleasure. When we get together, we can go there. We go deep
Absolutely.
on our conversation. So love everything that you talked about. I look forward to your continued success in 2020 and beyond. And, you know, if there's anything I can do to help you or support you, you know that I'm here for you.
I do. And vice versa. We just have that type of connection. So I appreciate it.
Yes, and thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode with our special guest, James Valentine. And again, I will drop the links below this audio so that you guys can check out his groups, his events, and his Facebook page to keep track of the Manifest Coach himself. All right, thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.